everyone, Carmine from New York here. This is photo class number 330. What does vintage lenses Scarlett Johansson, Ted Danson, Joaquin Phoenix, and Nick Offerman have in common? Let's go. Hello everyone, this is Carmine from New York, professional photojournalist here in New York City, Times Square, since 1973. I am a working professional photographer teaching what I know best. For the last 50 years, I've been a photographer here in Manhattan, and now it's my opportunity, pleasure, and responsibility to teach others what I have learned, because the internet is the new classroom, and I want to teach you guys everything I know. All right, let's jump into it. Subscribe, thumbs up, comment below. All right, what am I holding? I'm holding a 1952 vintage lens. This one happens to be all aluminum casing made by Meyer Optik Gerlitz. This is the Telemagor 180mm f5.5 lens made in Germany in 1952. So this lens, let's just get right to it, costs about $39. It's 4 elements. It has, this copy has an Exacta mount, and I use the Exacta mount to Leica L mount adapter, and I shoot it with my Leica SL. It slips on perfectly. Okay. Also, when I picked up this lens for $39, it came with the original metal lens hood, which I highly recommend if you're considering buying one of these lenses. Make sure it comes with the original hood. There's many of these for sale. Okay, so I opened today's episode with, what do those major motion picture stars, Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson, Nick Offerman, and Ted Danson, have to do with vintage camera lenses? Well, very interesting. When I picked up this lens, this Meyer Optik Gerlitz lens, I had to dig deep and find out everything I could about Meyer Optik Gerlitz. So that went down the rabbit hole on the internet. Here's what you find out. That Spike Jonze, the director of the 2013 movie Her, great movie, I'm going to put a link to the trailer below. The director of photography and him, the director, Spike Jonze, got together and decided they were going to use, either for the full movie or part of the movie, vintage camera lenses for the vintage look, for the quality that only a vintage lens can give, like in these photographs that I took. So you can see the look is completely different. Now don't forget, this lens, this 1952 lens, was put on this modern Leica SL digital 24 megapixel mirrorless camera. So it just shows you that by using vintage lenses, which are very inexpensive, to me inexpensive as anything under $100, you get a look that you just can't get by using today's modern hyper sharp lenses. Okay. Now, a second movie, Hearts Beat Loud, starring Nick Offerman and Ted Danson. That's a 2018 major motion picture by director Brett Haley. Brett Haley, the director, and his director of photography, his DP, also decided to use, either for the whole movie or for part of it, vintage lenses. So I took a look at these two movies, and son of a gun, there's a look. Today's episode, class number 330 that you're watching now, is a special episode because at the end you have to stay tuned for a very special portion of this video. Okay, I want to tell you all about this lens. So I've already shown you some teaser photographs that I took with this lens. I used this is a telephoto lens. It's a 180 millimeter prime full frame lens. I used it for street photography. Yes, I know very well that most photographers, when they hear street photography, they want to go with a 35 millimeter or a 28 millimeter or even a 17 millimeter. I know all about it. I do that too. But when you want to isolate your subject, you use a longer lens. Like in this case, the 180 millimeter. Now, as you saw and will see more photographs, the photographs I took, I went down to my lobby and out to 54th Street on the most gloomy winter day here in Manhattan. Unreal how little sunlight there was. And it was only like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Granted, it was December, but this was such an overcast day. It was like it was going to snow any second. Why am I mentioning that? Because I had to use ISO 25,000. ISO 25,000. Why? Because I used f8, number one. Number two, there was almost no light. It was almost like I was shooting at night. There was so little light that day. Okay, so the full name of this lens is the Meyer Optik Gerlitz 180 millimeter all metal f5.5 red V version. Where does red V come from? Well, I don't know if you can see it, but right there is a red V. All right, it's just an indication of that's the model. Okay, made in Germany in 1952. It really doesn't weigh that much. It sounds like a lot, but it's 430 grams. This is the Telemegor model. Telemegor, Telemegor model. With the lens hood and exact amount, like I said, it cost about 39 bucks. All right. What the heck is Meyer Optik Gerlitz? You guys know about NIKON, you know about Canon, you know about Sony and Fujifilm, etc., etc. But not many of you remember or know the name Meyer Optik Gerlitz. Well, they're from 1896 when an optician, Hugo Meyer, opened up his factory to make eyeglasses, lenses, and here you go. This is one of the designs that he came up with. For your information, Meyer Optik Gerlitz has had a whole renewal. They opened up a new factory in Hamburg, Germany, and they're producing modern lenses. When Meyer Optik Gerlitz started in 1896, here in the United States, Grover Cleveland was the United States president, just to give you a form of reference of how old this lens company is. I find it interesting. All right. So the aperture is 5.5 to f/22, and here's why it's great for movies as well. It's clickless. The aperture is silent as you go through all of the clickless aperture settings. Now, I mentioned quickly, I shot this at 25,000 ISO here in Manhattan when I took these photographs. Aperture priority, f8, and of course on aperture priority the camera sets the correct shutter speed. I always use f8 no matter what lens I'm shooting, unless I'm shooting for some kind of bokeh, because f8 is the sharpest f-stop on 99% of all lenses ever made, even back in 1952. So like I mentioned, it has only 4 elements. There's only 4 elements. That's 4 pieces of glass from the end to the beginning. And that's great. That's almost, we're almost at the minimum number of glass elements in a lens to be called a photographic lens. When you have more elements, that just absorbs light and information, which means details. So you want the least amount of elements you can get, which is why professionals shoot with prime lenses. Because prime lenses, meaning that they're not zooms, prime lenses have less elements than zoom lenses. So here's the special part of this video. I shot 100+ photographs just 2 days ago here in Manhattan using this gorgeous vintage lens on the Leica SL. So as I was editing them, culling them out, picking which ones I wanted to show, I go, you know what? I've never done this before. I'm going to show you every photograph I took, because I've been doing photography, like I said, for 50 years, and there's one thing you learn is that everybody that's looking at your photographs, some like one and some like another one. You know what I mean? Like some people like milk and some people like wine. It's just the way it is. So I said, you know what? Let me just show you guys all of them. So it's about 15 to 20 minutes long, the rest of this video. It's just my photographs using this gorgeous Meyer Optik Gerlitz Telemagor 180mm lens from 1952. Sit back, enjoy, subscribe. Now let's watch 20 minutes of photographs taken with this vintage lens, and you'll understand why major motion pictures use vintage lenses. Let's go.
you.